mentioned something about the African village. In Africa, the African village is where Africa is. That is where the African culture is lived. That is where there is African socialism. In Zulu, it's called Ubuntu. Ubuntu means I am because you are. And there is sharing in rural Africa, people living for each other, living a true community life. It's found in rural Africa. And so these people who have nothing live for each other. And those with something still live for each other. And when you get to an African rural setup, there is this ambience of relaxation because of community. People have released themselves into each other, and their lives flow into each other. You are obligated to help another person. You are supposed to feed me when I'm hungry. You are supposed to help me when I'm in problems. That is generally the philosophy of Africa. Forget about the neglect we see with Giga victims. That is just the fallacious leanings of selfishness that has been aided by religion and people just being, selfish and thinking they want to be alone. But the true meaning of the African culture is just community, living for each other. That is it. And when you meet really traditional people, they really are into the cases of others. They are out for others. And that is what defines them. There is community, an extended family. There is relation and the in-laws through intermarriages and dowry and all that. It's really, to me, it is okay. It is actually biblical. And if there is any culture that is very close to the biblical culture, it is the African culture. The culture of taking care of your brother, being your brother's keeper. That is the true African spirit. And so I live in true Africa. I encounter true Africans. And I grew up African. I'm an African black man. We have people with my skin tone, but they're not really Africans. They're African something. But I'm just African. And that defines my core values. And that helps me to do what I do, the way I do it. But there is a problem here with some people, especially the elites, people who want to copy other cultures that are thought to be better than our culture. And they run away from Africa. And therefore, in retrospect, they run away from themselves. And you'll find them in urban centers. Others are not even on this continent. They flew out and they live in the first world countries. You'll find them in the UK, you'll find them in Canada, and you'll find them in America, and you'll find them in Japan and in China and Australia and New Zealand and in the Scandinavian countries. They are scattered all over the world. And when you dig deeper, and I know those of you who have met them, don't trust what they tell you, because they don't know what happens in Africa. they ran away from this place. And they could say, oh, I have my mom there, I have my brothers. They could send in a few coins to help here and there, but really they are alienated. Not all of them, of course. We have some wonderful people living in the diaspora and helping their people here, so don't get me wrong. And so you'll meet these people, and some of them, out of wanting to gain an identity, like what Obama has been trying to do, normally try to come back. But they don't want to be real Africans, meaning they don't want their lives to flow into the rest of the community. They just don't want to be part of that. And so a lot of them will even come from overseas, and they will lodge, they will stay in some hotels, resorts that have copied the structure of the village. And they have these thatched houses, and they have this natural material, and you look at everything and it looks like it smells village, but it's not actually a true village. It's an artificial village. And I have friends who have come from the US to Kenya, and instead of coming to the village to stay there, they remained in these places that resemble the village. And they stay there with their families or alone. And they smell that aroma and go away, go back. And when they are back there, they will tell you, I'm from Africa. No, they are not from Africa. They are from some fake setup that was not Africa. And I blame them. I really blame them, because there are some things that you learn when you travel. And God gives you these lessons for a purpose, so that you can be of use to your own people. Moses, having been born and raised in the palace of Pharaoh, learned a few things. And although it got him into trouble, but we see him coming back 40 years to do a few things for his people. So we are Africans, and God knows that. And we're not Africans by accident. No. And God is not colorblind. No. God knows that I'm black. He knows that. He chose to give me this black skin. And it's not a mistake that he did that. There is a reason for me being given my black skin. There is a reason for you being given the white skin. He is not colorblind. He knows we are black and we are yellow and we are white. He knows that. And it's good in his eyes. And there is a purpose for that, which we can discover and live for if we choose to be wise. And so, these Africans who will come and not associate with the village have a problem. I've had encounters with foreigners who moved with me, and they were amazed, and some of them got an offense when they saw me really giving, because when you walk through these places, there will be hands of give me, help me. And to some people, that is bad manners. But to an African, it's very normal to reach out and ask for help. And so in every little corner, you'll have somebody who is hungry. You'll have somebody who needs your attention. You will have somebody who needs you to greet them and shake their hand, because you don't just greet people like this. You actually shake their hand. You have to put in energy and shake their hands. And then you say, hi. it's rude. And when you're driving through these villages, you have to stop the car and to greet people, to talk to them nicely, sometimes to get out of your car and give them attention. And I live with this daily. And some foreigners had a problem with that. I had one particular lady, a woman who came, not a lady really, because she messed up. And she had a very big problem and said, "You are giving out donor money. You're not supposed to give out the money." And really I was like, why am I giving the money in the first place? I'm given the money to give out. That is my ministry. My work is to actually give. So people donate, and I am supposed to give. So if you don't want me to give, if I cannot give, then I have no business doing what I do. I actually have to give. That is what I'm meant to do. And when I give, I'm simply honoring my calling. And I searched through my heart and knew that I'm a giver. That is why I championed, I pioneered this movement, a movement of love in action, giving, you know. And so people have had a problem with that, with giving, cannot manage this. And I want to thank God for the camaraderie, for that unity of purpose that He has given me together with my partners and supporters who are not Africans. I've told friends like Jenny, I told Jenny, you are an African. I didn't mean she was black or she was born in Africa or anything like that. What I meant was that she is able to flow. That somebody asking for help makes sense to her. It really makes sense to her. And if giving makes sense to you, if somebody comes to you and asks for stuff, if you volunteer to give out, then you could be African. Because that's what defines Africa. And all the people, everybody who associates with me, they have Africa in their hearts. Because it's only in Africa, I think, where these things make sense. People have moved on. People are on their own. People are nucleated. They are self-contained world over. And I think Africa is also going there, and I worry a lot. But I'm happy that we can still stay in this atmosphere and be able to flow into the lives of others. I'll be back for more.